Hi there, everyone. My name is Helenique, and I'm talking to you today about higher love. The soulmate success story of JJ Virgin is the topic I'm going to be covering today. And I was quite surprised to learn that this lady is 52 years old and experiencing love for the very first time. She explains that this is the first time that she feels that she's really fallen in love in her life, even though she's been married before, had children with her husband before, and had a few other relationships that were meaningful and very important relationships, but never felt the kind of deep love and connection that she feels now in her life. She's also, in fact, a best selling author and someone who talks to thousands of women at once about health and nutrition. And so this woman is quite an interesting example of what you would call someone who's dedicated a lot of her life towards her career. So there were some very interesting insights, and I'd like to share some of them with you, which are also echoing through a lot of the other Art of Love series experts who are talking about love and relationships in this current era that we are in. Many of them have been pointing to the fact that there is some very significant inner work that we have to do in order to clear the pathway to outstanding and everlasting love in our lives. It seems that with a lot of the change in relationships in general, a lot of us have experienced heartbreak, loss, and all kinds of myths and lies about love, and also some deep truths that we've struggled to really integrate. And so, if you have been somebody who's had many separations, or if you've been exploring relationships and found yourself feeling despondent or cynical, maybe even resigned or hopeless about relationships, this is something that can actually be worked on, and it needs to be cleared in order for you to really attract new and rewarding love in your life. So, one of the things JJ Virgin really talks about as a key factor to manifesting this beautiful partnership with her current husband is the clearing away of the self limiting beliefs and blocks that you have internally towards love and relationships. So, you might be resisting a relationship, you might actually be resisting the normal experience of love in relationships because you have some kind of expectation of higher standards. Maybe this is something I worked on and am still working a little bit on. Learning to actually be quite realistic about what a relationship entails, and to also know that you have to clear away the internal avoidance to being hurt. So there's parts of us that feel afraid of being hurt again. There's parts of us that feel afraid to actually come close to another person because we're not sure that we'll be accepted totally and fully. And of course, lots of childhood experiences are informing these kinds of fears. They are actually defining our level of trust in life and in the world. So it's quite important to take a good look at all of this past history from childhood, and then also the different conclusions that you've come to each time you've separated from somebody, each time you've had a heartbreak, each time you've actually taken a risk and end up hurt. There might be an added bit of pain that is connecting to a childhood belief that you have, and then confirming that belief or actually bringing you back to the same feeling. So this is what we mean by clearing the internal blocks to love. Now, there's all kinds of ways to do this. Psychotherapy is very helpful. There are online courses that you can take. The one that I know about that I recommend is called Calling in the One, if you are ready to call in the One, which is a way of clearing the path. And then there's also this Art of Love series. You can also work with a coach, a love coach, maybe a dating coach. And there's also a few people I could recommend, so you can get in touch with me and I will help pass you on to what would be the most appropriate one for you. So clearing the blocks to love is something we do internally, and it's something that we do emotionally, and it's something that we do also on a mental level with our belief system. So there are a few signs to know if you are in fact avoiding or resisting love, or if you are limiting love entering your life. Number one would be to notice if you are avoiding coming closer to somebody that you do actually like, maybe a little, and maybe a lot even. Even liking someone a little is a good time to explore deeper feelings that could evolve from getting to know the person a bit better. But it's also a chance for you to just learn more about yourself and to learn about the way that you can flow more in meeting this person and getting to know them a bit better without stopping yourself. So if you are avoiding getting to know somebody that you like a little or you like a lot, this is one very good sign. Another one is where you might be very reactive, maybe even overreactive. Maybe just generally finding certain decisions that the person you're dating or the person that you're with difficult to manage, not having a certain amount of patience and tolerance in the relationship and or in the dating process if you're getting to know someone. This is a very good sign that you might be anxious about intimacy and deeper connection, and you can cover it up in very sophisticated ways. So you want to look deeper for this one. In other words, you could actually have very specific high standards. That could be a way of protecting yourself, which is avoiding, but also a good reason to react to things that might not always suit you. So it keeps alive this kind of drama of being attached in a more anxious way in relationships. So you want to be looking out for any kind of avoidance and any kind of anxiousness that could be showing up as overreaction or reaction in general. Another thing you might be noticing is a loss of hope or cynicism, negativity about the future. This indicates often a very specific level of vulnerability and pain that still might be there from past experiences. So that's another block that you could have. And then also any kind of attitude or belief that is holding people away from you, or holding men away from you, or holding women away from you. This is something that you can actually unpack from childhood even, and it could really be a belief that has come into place because of deep hurt or a sense of rejection, or even a kind of neglect from your primary caregivers or your primary family dynamics. The way that things were working in the family could have created very specific beliefs in your mind, which are really thoughts that you interpreted based on the pain. Another one to look out for is generally your level of self-esteem. Often there's a very low level of self-esteem in childhood, which can be detected from all kinds of stress and challenges that a child might have in a family. And there might be all kinds of feelings of not being validated, not being valuable from those experiences. And these tend to continue on into adolescence and then into adult life. Might also be quite well buried, or they might be quite visible, depending on how well you know yourself. But self-esteem is a really important area to strengthen. And if you are not feeling valuable enough or self-loving and self-appreciative, if there are actually many reasons that you can find each time you are meeting somebody, or each time someone is offering you love for why you don't deserve the love, or why you shouldn't accept the love, then you need to look at this level of self-esteem and your deeper feelings of self-worth and work on those in order to break through some of these blocks that you might have towards love. The other very